Hey guys, it's John here and Forrest with the Bogue Real Estate Group, back with your monthly market update. We've got quite a bit to cover this month, so we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about the interest rate announcement last week, potential for future cuts or maybe not. We're also going to cover the Supreme Court's decision with the unceded land in Richmond, which probably everyone's heard about. There's a big kind of a court case, quite a landmark ruling there to cover, and then we're also going to cover just kind of what we're seeing out there in general, like we always do.
We always do, yes. So, I mean, overall, since kind of June, it's been quite busy for us, and it differs per agent, people you talk to. Some people are still we're quite busy. I do think a lot of it is rollover from people that were on the fence, like early parts of this year and last year. So we're very thankful for all our clients, everyone that we've been working with. We've had some great deals happen. They are very hard to put together, it does seem lately.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a lucky streak recently. Things have been pretty easy for us.
Yeah.
Talking to the realtors, it seems
Not
that
so
way.
much.
But definitely it's not, nothing's easy.
And we do have our listings that are sitting, and like the condos are still being an issue and stuff like that, which we'll kind of dive into a bit more. Is it due to the recent rate cut that just happened on the 29th? No. Do I think that that's going to further help pick up the market for buyers a lot? No. It's kind of hard to really forecast what's going to be happening over the next 6 months with the current state of things going on. But I just don't think that the buyer confidence is there right now. And these deals that are happening, it's like we're just getting lucky and finding the right buyer. It's like we're finding the one buyer for this unit, or we're finding the one buyer for this house. It's not like there's an overwhelming amount of buyers coming through these open houses or booking private showings. You're really having to sell units these days. Like, it's really
Absolutely.
hard.
I think it also just comes down to pricing. Like we always said before, I think this is the most price sensitive market we've ever known. Arguably during COVID, price didn't mean anything because everything would just sell for a great price. Didn't matter what you priced it at. Nowadays, 20 grand can make a whole lot of difference. And I think.
And it can make a whole lot of not difference. Like arguably there's places that we've listed where I'm like, this is a fantastic price. It's below the last sale from 2 months ago by $25,000. And no one's coming to see it.
Predominantly in the condo space.
Predominantly in the condo space, yes. And then no one's coming to see it, and they're like, okay, well, let's lower it. So now we're like almost $50,000 below the last comparable sale. No one's coming to see it. Or it takes 2 weeks for someone to come see a condo that's like so underpriced, it's insane.
And I know the example we're talking about, and then the reason I think that one is particular is I'm not going to say what it is, but it's like I think it comes down to floor plans, right? So it's like so we could have a great size. It could be a great size unit, and maybe it's a little bit bigger than the last one, and we're priced lower.
Yeah.
But the problem is the floor plan's just not quite right, or there's not enough natural light, or there's a ding on that piece of the countertop, and it's kind of just there's little things.
Or the overhead lighting isn't. It needs some pot lights.
Yeah, I mean, people walk in and they make an emotional decision to buy, they want to live here or not, and then they go and they justify it with logic and run the numbers and make sure. But if they're not getting past that emotional stage, it's not going to sell. So
and it also brings into the fact that there's just like, if you look up 1 or 2 bedroom condos in whatever area you're looking in, there is 100 of them.
Every day we do this.
So it's like,
guess how many 2 beds there are in Willoughby? There's 84.
So even if you're priced really well and it is a good desirable floor plan, unless you're catching a buyer that's already been out there for a month and a half, 2 months looking at places, and they're at the end of their search and they have to make a decision. Even if someone loves it, they're like, this is great, this is a great price, I like it, but I have to go look at 65 other condos before I can make a decision. And it's just taking a long time. So arguably it's like what do we have to do? Do we have to bring these things down so they're 100 grand undervalued to get a bunch of people come through, and then be like, but we actually need $75,000 more than this? So,
and that's kind of the thing. It's like, that's when it comes down to motivation, right? So then you've got timelines playing. Time and money is kind of like a kind of what do you call it? It's like a graph almost. So it's like, okay, so for the sellers that actually have to sell quick, maybe they've got a subject to sell accepted on a house or something with a condo, they're going to sell that within 30 days to make that happen, right? So like they're going to have to be like, we got all these buyers that want to offer, but they're not offering because they've got to see the 65 other condos. Well, we're just going to have to drop it 30 and take 30 below what it's reasonable to sell at, because we've got to get moving quick. And then therefore that reprices the building. And this is why we're having price price declines a little bit in the condo space. But I must admit, I think we've seen a bit over the last like 3 or 4 months. Condo prices have come down. I don't think they're going to come down a whole lot more.
Well, it's hard to see. Like
I don't think they are.
I saw like a fairly new condo just the other day sell in Willoughby in Langley. Probably 6 years old, 525 square feet. So like not huge. It's at the lower end of what people want.
Mm-hmm.
But it went for like $389.
Wow.
Right? So
they had to sell.
Yeah, so it's like it's getting to the point where it's like how much lower could, like, once you see a condo that's fair,
wild.
It's wild, and it's like it's a nice unit, it's a good building, they have some amenities. So it's like I don't think condos can come much lower before people are either just gonna be like, we're just not gonna sell it, like whatever, I'm gonna rent it out, or I'm just gonna keep it, or I'm not gonna make my move. Because arguably, if they come much lower, like people are going to start snapping. Like, how could you not snap something up under 400K like that?
I think that's where we're going now this winter. I think that's where we're going. And I don't want to say I'm calling the bottom because no one ever knows what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're hitting that point in the condo space specifically where I don't think there's going to be a lot more. I think we're at kind of near the bottom right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Come back in a year. It could be $100,000 less. I don't know.
And another factor that could come into play, it hasn't really happened with many of our buyers or clients, but people who were shopping at that, you know, they're like, well, I can spend $650,000 on a condo, no problem, or whatever, right? But now they're seeing, they're like, well, like I technically could get approved for $750,000, and if I go to $758,000, like I can actually get into these townhouses that were selling at like $950,000 a year ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of too much condo inventory and also just the buyers really taking their time looking through condos. But then at the flip side, they're also being like, well, I can even kind of make a jump from I don't even have to go condo first. I can go townhouse first right now, right?
It's true. So I think that's kind of where we are. This has been playing out all year. Nothing's really changed. I mean, I guess the one change is going back to the beginning is the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bank of Canada did drop last week on Wednesday, on the 29th. And it was kind of expected to happen. We did have inflation kind of pick up a little bit before that. There was a report that went up to 2.5 from about, I think, around 2. So people were saying, oh, maybe they won't cut. They did cut. It was kind of an anomaly, that CPI reading. But I think the more important thing here is not that the fact that there has been a cut, because 25 basis points is not going to move the needle.
It's not a lot.
But I think the main thing to notice is that the markets that kind of bet on future rate cuts and kind of give you probability of like how many more cuts are coming, when they're coming, all this kind of stuff, has basically now gone flat. So basically the markets are saying, we believe there are no rate cuts this year and probably no more next year.
Mm-hmm.
We're also kind of in that Bank of Canada's neutral rate range. So it's like they have this range where it's like if they go below it, it's going to be stimulative to the economy.
Okay.
If they go above it, it's going to be
have a negative
what's the
impact.
stimulative?
Destimulative.
It's going to hinder growth. So we're in that neutral point. There's a range of, I think it's about 50 basis points. We're in that range. So all signs are pointing towards the fact that I think the rates have bottomed. Now,
arguably, sorry to interject,
yeah.
but arguably I do, in a way, I think it's a good thing, because if you look at this historically, these are fairly average rates that we're at right now. And I think what we've seen is leading up to this point in this year is just a big lack of buyer confidence in the market, and watching and waiting and wondering what's going to happen. Our price is going to go much lower, our rate's going to go lower, am I going to have more borrowing power? And now that we're kind of seeing that, like in these indicators where it's like this is probably the last rate cut potentially for 12 months, I do think it could help stimulate the market in a little bit.
I think so.
Confidence comes back. People aren't waiting for future rate cuts. We have statistically fairly average rates. It's more affordable than it was a year ago. So people are going to start theoretically getting into the market a little bit more. The confidence is going to return.
I think the only thing holding people back, it has to be just, general feeling of uneasiness.
Mm-hmm. People are worried about losing their jobs, you know what I mean? Like the uncertainty with employment and stuff like that.
The climate for buying is the best it's been in probably 3 years, right? So you've got super high inventory, the lowest prices we've seen in a long time. You've got rates, I mean, I just renewed my mortgage at 3.68%. I mean, that's pretty good on a renewal, but high threes, they're out there for the 3-year fixed. Low fours, around 4%, variable, high threes, like these are pretty good rates. And like honestly, with the choice out there and finding those motivated sellers that you have to sell and getting a good deal, it's not that hard to do,
No.
to be honest. So it's like the only thing I think holding people back from really jumping back in, like you said, is just kind of a feeling of unease out there. And the tariff thing is what did it in the spring. That's still lingering on. The effects on the economy are still going to continue probably as the uncertainty with the trade deal kind of plays out and everything. But I think with all these things, as we've said multiple times on these videos before, they have a holding period of shock and then they wear off and people move on. And I think that's potentially what we're going to see next year. I don't think we're going to see any kind of price growth. I think it's going to be quite flat, but I do think you'll probably see the numbers pick up a little bit after a very weak year. 2025 will go down as a very weak year in terms of sales volume. I think the last 3 years have been for sure, but this one particularly.
I think it all kind of boils down to buyers' confidence in the end. If people, and it can't just be confidence in the real estate market, it's personal finances, it's job security, it's how much groceries cost, there's a lot of factors that play into it. And if someone's not feeling comfortable in their current situation, they're not going to go out and make a huge, massive financial decision that has a 25-year plus commitment to it, right? So that, I think that's, as much of it is maybe not confidence in the real estate market, I think it's like lots of people aren't feeling confident in the economy and the world and jobs and stuff like that. So,
and going back to who are the people we're helping right now? The majority of people we're helping are people that are selling and buying at the same time. So it just shows you that there's not a huge amount of people coming in. We're helping the odd first-time home buyer here and there, which is great to see because we think it's a great time to do that. I wish we'd see more of that. But the bread and butter of the deals we're doing right now this whole year have been people mostly upsizing or downsizing or just kind of trading up space, just necessity moves. And that's, I mean, if you've got a mortgage and it's 800K and you want to get into a bigger house and it's going to go up to 1.1, the reality is you got a big mortgage, it is what it is. Like, you're likely going to do it no matter what. Even if your job is a little bit uneasy, it's like, the need for more space is probably going to override that.
I've seen a lot of people, I think the condo market thing, why we're seeing so many condos on the market is a lot of people are testing the waters with their condos in between tenants. So they're like, hey, if I could get out of this, like, I don't really want to try to sell this next year with a new tenant and have to give like four months before I can complete the sale. So I think a lot of these condo listings we're seeing are people in between tenants, just kind of testing the waters, seeing if they can get a reasonable price, and then if they can't, they're just going to take it off.
And I think the reality, tenanted units are usually smaller or whatever. Like, I mean, the reality is, putting my kind of like eye under investment property hat, what would I do? Is like, the reality is the price you're going to get is going to be terrible. It's probably going to be lower than you would even imagine. Like, that's just the reality, because most people think their homes are worth more than they are. You could look at the comps. I mean, there aren't many comps. You could have 10 for sale in a building, like a low-rise building, and you go back 6 months and see how many have sold, and there's like 6. So it's like really weak numbers. I mean, you look at the actual ones selling, and they're just having to take very bad prices. So that's where it is. The condo market's still struggling a lot.
And for the savvy buyer, if you don't focus too much on taking that much less on your sale, you can make that up on the buy side. And we are seeing that's the thing. People are just stomaching the fact that they're going to have to take a bit less, but then when we go to buy, they can be quite aggressive. And especially when you jump up a price point, if you're taking 25 grand less than you wanted to on your sale on a condo, and you're going up to like a higher priced townhouse or a detached, all of a sudden you can knock 50 grand off. So you can kind of make that money back on your purchase. And I think that's kind of the tactic that a lot of people are using.
When we meet with people that want to do this move, like usually an upsize, like we explain that to them, and then we show them the numbers, and they go, "Oh yeah, fine." Like by now they totally get it. Like even just taking a hit on the sale, like losing money, they're okay with it because they're going to be buying in at a price they wouldn't have dreamed of anyway. So I think that's kind of been the story this year, and it's great to see kind of buyers just being like, matter of fact, being like, yeah, that's how it is right now.
And that's kind of just what's going on out there in a nutshell. But we're dragging this out. We did want to talk about the Supreme Court's ruling a little bit with the Cowichan tribe. I think it's 6 acres of land that.
So you probably heard about it. I think if I bring it up, I think it's about 6 acres of land. Nearly 6 acres of land in Richmond. So this is kind of
6 kilometers of land.
Sorry, 6 square kilometers of land. Yeah, it's quite a large parcel. So it's kind of like the southeast side of Richmond.
I think it's about 180 privately owned homes.
And
a bunch of commercial and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's commercial. There's some land. There's some condos in there as well, apparently. And so if you don't know what happened, basically the Supreme Court granted the Cowichan Nation Aboriginal title over nearly 6 square kilometres of land in that area, but they're privately owned. So technically right now, as per this court ruling, there's a kind of dual title.
Yeah, so they're essentially being like, no, everything's fine. You still own your freehold title, but you also have this Aboriginal title here, which in theory, in make-believe land, is great. But when you go to the bank and say, hey, bank, I would like to refinance this property, or I want to purchase this property, they're going to go, well, which title is it? Because we're not going to do it, right?
We've kind of done some research on this and spoke to a couple of mortgage brokers and lenders about it, and their gut feeling is that you will not be able to sell or buy these with mortgages. Like, so if you're a buyer and you want to buy, you go to TD
based on right now.
Yeah,
I do think we're at the very infant stages of this. It's a landmark, once in a century ruling. It's has implications and could affect private property rights all across BC, especially given that over 90+% of land in BC is technically unceded territory. How this plays out to affect the rest of BC,
I think that's the concern, right? So there will most likely be a treaty kind of pushed through quickly on this one, because obviously you can't have people just stuck with properties with mortgage on it that can't like refinance or can't do anything else, right? There's going to have to be something worked out, but this is an isolated case. As far as I said, 95% of land in BC is unceded. So therefore, if this sets a precedent, what's to stop any other First Nations bands doing the same thing, and then this court ruling becoming a kind of precedent for the rest of them? A lot of people are getting very worried about it, very scared about it, and I can understand that. I also think it's important not to be like, oh, it'll be fine, because this is quite a big piece of news. In BC and apparently the Maritimes, it's where a lot of this unceded land is not under treaty. Apparently a lot of central Canada, there's a lot of treaties that have kind of locked this down. So we're in one of the areas that potentially, if this becomes a huge ordeal, could be massively affected by this. Like I said, we haven't seen it affect the market. Like I'm not seeing buyers pull out because no one's talking about this. It's more just realtors in the industry.
And it is in such an infant stage. Like the rulings happen, yes, but no one really knows how it's going to play out. Also, my understanding is that it's up to the government of Canada to rectify this with the homeowners as well. It's not like the tribe has to come up with a solution. It's going to be the government that has to come up with a solution. And I don't think they can just leave all the homeowners affected by this high and dry. There has to be something that has to be a treaty.
But the question becomes, why was there not a treaty in the first place?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, and also because of this now, are we going to have all over the Lower Mainland, all over BC, are we going to have a rush to negotiate treaties and have this all locked in to avoid this happening down the line again? I think the answer to that is yes.
Probably.
I think it should happen. If they don't, then you're kind of playing with fire. But that's kind of how it is. So we'll kind of keep you up to date on that as it plays out.
We'll have some more information next month. So it'd be interesting to see if there's any new information on it for next month. But yeah, I think that's it. Should we cut it off there?
Yeah. We're just to say thank you, everyone, because we've been very busy and we've been very happy with how the last 4 months have been. It's been fantastic. And we're kind of, now edging towards Christmas. We're kind of feeling like there's less and less business kind of coming on our plate, which is great. But it's been a very odd year because the first half was so quiet and the second half has been so busy for us.
Yeah, to put it into numbers, we've done 3 times the business in this last 5 months of the year than we did in the first 6 months of the year. So
yes,
it's a
or even more.
Technically
actually.
more.
Yeah. It's been a very strange year.
Very strange year.
But it's been one we've learned a lot. It's not even over yet.
Grown.
It's November.
We've learned. We've grown. We're blossoming as people.
It's been a cool year. I think we've definitely learned a lot, and it's kept us on our toes a lot as well. And I think we've developed.
Yeah, and I think when good agents and you grow in these type of scenarios. When you have bad years, you have to get through them, and you learn a lot about yourself as a person, your clients, how to negotiate certain scenarios. It's cool because it's like the deals that we do end up putting together. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle that you just have to fit together in record time, where before in different type of markets it's just like we're done, so I'm personally enjoying the added workload with putting these together. They can get quite stressful, but it's pretty fun at the same time. So
yeah. Well, thanks guys. Well, like I said, we're back next month, and if you have any questions, as always, just fire us a message by responding to the email or give us a call on the number below, and we're happy to help.
Take care and have a great rest of your month. Bye.